Pemiscot.
Hello, I'm Barry Aycock, your host. Welcome to Barry Interesting. I'm welcoming today South Pemiscot Bulldogs, fresh off their visit to the Final Four in Columbia, Missouri, Class 2. Welcome to Barry Interesting. I'm Barry Aycock, your host, and today we welcome the South Pemiscot Bulldogs basketball team, fresh off their first ever trip to the state Final Four. Welcome, Coach Jordan McGowan.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Coach, congratulations on the most successful season in South Pemiscot basketball history, a great run to end the season and trip to Columbia for the Class 2 Final Four. What does it mean to you and South Pemiscot schools and just the community in general?
To me, it's probably, without a doubt, the best coaching moment of my career so far. The thing that I witnessed for this community is how after each game going through the process of how they just got closer and closer knitted. That community really came up, really supported. I don't think those kids ate school lunch for 2 weeks. They were provided lunch for every day, as well as just there was a handful, or not more, just people just what do the boys need, what can we do, and all that. And as well as I don't think we had a student pay for a ticket all postseason. Everybody that wanted to go got to go, as far as staff members. So it was a phenomenal experience as far as just watching the community come together and rally around this group of kids.
So you were eating steak and lobster every meal leading up to going to Columbia?
I wouldn't say steak and lobster, but it was definitely a little better than school lunch.
It was a great season, kind of a magical season. Like we've talked about off camera, this team wasn't really supposed to be there.
No, matter of fact, the cheer sponsor always kids me, especially after the fact. She asked me, she goes, "Well, what are you expecting this year on one of our first bus trips to an away game?" And I said, "Hang with me." I said, we'll see what happens, but with us being this young and our schedule in the Boot Hill Conference, it might be a little rough." And then we did what we did, and she's gave me a hard time ever since.
And it was rough. You started off 2023 at 4-4, and you didn't make it to the final night of the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament. You got knocked out by your rival Hayti in the consolation semifinals, which was a great game, by the way. I remember watching it here at the office. What were you thinking at that point in the season?
How we started off was, you can look at our mission schedule as win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And that's what those being young does sometimes, especially those freshmen, sophomore playing varsity minutes who probably need some JV success early and to kind of get their feet wet. However, they finally got it going, and that Christmas tournament kind of woke them up, getting knocked out by a district opponent and letting them see what that was about. And some growing pains along the way, mistakes here or there, having to take care of it in practice and things like that, got us through that moment anyway.
You kind of turned things around when January rolled around, the new year started. January you were 6-3, then February 6-2. Your record got better each month of the season. When did you start to understand that this team might be able to make a run to the Final Four?
That's interesting in itself, because I don't think I ever thought, okay, we're going to go to the Final Four at any point throughout the season. I knew our kids were getting better, to say going to the Final Four was even into my thought process. I'd be lying to you. But I definitely saw our kids getting better and learning our system that we tried to put in throughout the year, and our kids definitely got better. And just to give you an idea off that, January we lost 3 games. 2 of them were to Malden in the same month, who won the Boot Hill Conference outright in the conference tournament. And they gave them games to the wire every time we played them. And that's when I kind of said, all right, we're getting there. We're getting there. And what we preach to our kids every year is Nothing matters until the district. The district's what matters. The district what matters because we do play a pretty tough schedule. So, and we're working on making that even tougher for next year as well.
Coach McGowan, from my memory, you scheduled a game like District Week, which some people probably thought you were crazy. But I remember Coach Long did that, I think, with Saxony Lutheran, the year they made that Final Four run, state championship run. But what were you thinking, just keeping your team kind of going into the districts?
Yes, sir. We received the 2 seed, which in our district of 6 got a bye. And how the state is doing it now with districts starting on for girls this year was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, boys Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We were not going to play until we played Thursday night before the district against Clarkton, and then was going to go a full 7 days without a ball game. And that's never good that time of year. So we picked up Eminence at Twin Rivers on that Monday night and played Eminence there. Had a good ball game. They're a pretty good club as well, and got a good win on that, and headed right into the district and never looked back. So
that kept you from getting rusty, that game. So that was an important game probably leading up to the districts.
I thought it was because it mimicked, it was a Western school, kind of mimicked how if we were to get past the district, what we were going to see, and it did almost to the T. So it worked out great in our favor for sure.
So, Coach, you placed 3 players on the all-district team: freshman Ty Campbell, sophomore Jaterion Smith, and Robert Farmer. This is a talented young group. How did you keep such a young group focused and their eyes on the prize throughout the postseason run?
That is a good question as far as, I don't know. I think they knew what was going on, but I think they were almost so young that they really didn't know what was going on.
That's a good thing, probably. Then.
Yes, and so the pressure necessarily wasn't as great as it would be on somebody that, oh, this is it kind of deal, because they've already, like even Robert was talking about, oh, next year we're going to be this or that. Well, I think they were so young they didn't have to worry about that. But those 3 kids you just mentioned, Tyrekus Campbell, Jaterion Smith, and Robert Farmer, also were Boot Hill All-Conference team members as well. And those kids, with the young talent they got, could be really fun for the next couple of years for sure.
So, Coach, was there one game, one moment in the season you said, this team really could go far? Or was you thinking, nah, that's not, we're going to do it next year, not this year?
I definitely thought we were going to go through growing pains this year, but the moment that that I kind of thought, well, we got a shot, was at Kabul. We drove 4.5 hours to Kabul for the first round of sectional, and got there. Hostile environment as far as they had a ton of fans, and we actually had a bunch of fans show up as well, but that gym was packed. Kabul has a great facility, and we come out and we took a demanding lead early, and that's when I kind of thought, well, we got what it takes. We'll see what happens. But that was the moment for me at the end of that, at the half of the Kabul game. The kids left the locker room, go back out to shoot, and I looked at both my assistants and said, guys, we could do it. And that was when that moment occurred.
So you thought that your players, even though they're young, inexperienced, could handle the big stage at that point in time? Yes,
and kind of back to the point I said is I don't think the pressure was there for them because they were considered the underdog. If you go back and look at every one of our games on our run, if it was Las Vegas, we weren't on those. We weren't on the winning side most of the time, and so there was no pressure.
The odds makers didn't have y'all winning.
No, definitely not.
Robert Farmer was named All-State as a sophomore this season. He made an impression on us here at A-Corp Sports this past season, and especially at the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament. I had an opportunity to speak with Robert a little earlier. Let's take a look at that interview right now. I'd like to welcome All-State point guard Robert Farmer from the South Pemiscot Bulldogs to Very Interesting. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
It's great finally getting to sit down with you. I've watched you all season. We've covered you pretty extensively on A-Corp Sports this year. Enjoyed watching you. But what does it mean for your hard work to pay off? You're an All-Stater.
It means a lot. Putting in the time and seeing it come true, it really means a lot to me.
You lost districts last year to a really good Cooter team. This year was different. You won the district, went all the way to the Final Four. What was different about this year's team?
I feel like we had way better chemistry than last year because that group in there, we all grew up together and we've been playing with each other since we were in like 5th grade.
So you really meshed this year, and the chemistry was there this year, unlike it was last year.
Yes, sir.
Well, Robert, you're all-state, so you're the epitome of hard work. What do you do in the off-season to get better for the next year?
In the off season, there's not many days where I'm not in the gym. That's where I live, basically.
Well, Robert, you're not really that tall. It's usually dominated by tall players. What gives you advantage as a short player to excel in this big man sport?
I feel like I'm very quick, agile, and very shifty.
When did you start playing basketball?
I started playing basketball at 5, and my dad taught me.
So your dad's kind of your coach, your role model off the court?
Oh, yeah, my dad, we still go to the gym to this day, and he still teaches me things.
Your team is still young. What kind of goals have y'all set for next year? Because you made the Final Four, you almost got over the hump for the state championship. That's the goal for next year. So tell us what you're going to do to get there and win the big game next year.
We got to learn how to shoot.
Robert, congratulations on a great season, All-State. That's quite an accomplishment. Probably one of the best, if not the best, teams in South Pemiscot history. And that's what we're here to do today on A-Corp Media, A-Corp Sports, is to document history. And Robert Farmer's going to be part of that history forever. So thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations. Coach, Robert Farmer's one of those players that doesn't come along very often. He's a very engaging young man. What makes him a special player?
I think what makes him probably one of the best players I've coached is his ability, his knack to know when to stop and when he knows his size is not going to do him good. Probably his best thing he does is shoot his little 10, 12-foot jump shot, and he uses that very effectively. Not only that, one of the best kids in the school, never in trouble. Always at practice. One thing about this group is I had one kid miss practice all year out of the 15 kids, and that was the day before homecoming. He had to go get his hair done. So not only it started with Robert, that group of sophomores have, like he said in his interview, very tight knit, and they do what's right. They stay out of trouble, they make good grades, they want to do it, which makes it great for coaching for sure, because I don't have to worry about near as much, and I can count on them being there. So it allows us to put our time and focus into things that we need to instead of other things.
We found out off camera he's the pride of Denton, Missouri.
Oh yeah.
I've never been to Denton. I thought I'd been to every town in southeast Missouri, but I'm going to have to check Denton out to get that off my bucket list. But Robert does have a high basketball IQ. He makes good decisions on the court. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yes. I got there when Robert was a 8th grader, and I coached junior high that year because I know they were coming up and wanted to start building relationships early. That knack for making decisions and doing all that was there in junior high. One of the best passers. I know he scores a lot for us too, but one of the best passers I've ever coached. As far as just making the right decision almost all the time. There were some moments, of course he's a sophomore, that I was like, oh man, he's a sophomore, because sometimes you forget that when you're coaching him, and it is definitely going to be nice to keep having him on my roster for the next couple of years.
You got a lot to look forward to with him and the whole team. Coach, you won district championship against Hayti by 17 points, and the sectional game you mentioned earlier with Kabul by 19 points. That brought on a much anticipated heavyweight matchup with Puxico. That was one of the best games of the year. It was intense, exciting for the fans to watch, and as we all know, the rest is history, how it ended. Tell us a little bit about that game and how your team handled that pressure.
One thing about that game is I did not watch that game and off camera or on huddle or anything like that until last Tuesday. And I really got to sit down and watch it and go through it. And that game was one of the best high school games I ever watched. I got to watch it as a fan, if you will, there. And just the anticipation of that game as far as how Misha set up the sectional and quarterfinal play this year for the first time in history, where you could host the quarterfinal, or where the schools were responsible for finding a place to host the quarterfinal. And Puxico had their sectional game at a place that only held 300 fans. Their gym would only hold 700. So they decided to open up Three Rivers and go to Three Rivers and play. We sell 1,881 tickets. And I know there was more people there than that, because I know my two kids weren't a ticketed spectator. So there were, I mean, it looked like 2,000 plus in that gym, and packed, and back and forth game, and very, very exciting game for sure. Just going through the game, started out early. Puxico took it to us. I thought it was going to get out of hand a couple times, but our kids come up and fought and never gave up. Settled down after the Puxico come out. I think Skylar, Skylar come out and was hitting on all cylinders. Really took it to our big. And we finally calmed down and started rebounding a little better defensively, limit them to one shot, and going down and scoring ourselves, and made a big difference in that first half. And then the rest, it gets more exciting as it goes, for sure.
Take us through that last shot, that last series of turnovers and the ball accidentally dropping in your players.
Yeah.
And take us through that.
Yeah, so Puxico calls a timeout with 1 minute and 47 seconds left. And Demarius Mayberry, my backup freshman point guard, missed a free throw. Puxico calls a timeout, and I grab him there. And you actually see on your production, I grab him and tell him, quit being scared, go win this game, it's going to be all right. And we go through the timeout, and y'all come back in, and I tap my board on the floor a couple times, and y'all got zoomed in on me there, and I looked at my dad and I go, it's probably over. And our freshman get out there, and he makes his second free throw, and we got right into our full court press to try to create some havoc, and we did. We got a big turnover there, and come up, and Demarius Mayberry makes the game tying layup after a stalled possession there. We actually called timeout, draw up something, and it was busted. Puxico guarded it well, and he was kind of the last option to go to tie the ball game, and he goes and makes a tough layup over the top of two Puxico defenders, and then we get back in it. And it comes down to our senior. We do a drill every day with Coach Boyd. Coach Boyd's more of our defensive guy when it comes to our pressing situation. And we do a drill every day where we have to cut off the sideline. Well, our senior, J.D. Morton, cuts off the sideline. He takes off running from the top of our top of the key and cuts off Landon Burchard in front of the coaching box at Puxico's bench. And Landon does a spin move as soon as he gets cut off, and Ty Campbell's there and just takes it right from him. It looks like a shark eating a fish, just right there, and dribbles down and gets the ball knocked out on the first shot, and catches it perfect and throws it back up and goes in. And that moment, of course, is movie-like, if you would, and he, of course, rest is history.
That'll be a game that's talked about for the rest of our lives in Southeast Missouri. That's kind of an instant classic.
Yeah.
You got to share that moment with your dad. You and your dad both were great basketball players at Bernie High School. Tell us what that means to share that with your dad.
So before I went to South Pemiscot, I was at Gideon and coached there. And South Pem job come open, and they called and asked me if I'd come down and interview, and I told them I would, knowing that I probably wouldn't take it because of the distance from living in Bernie. And got in there and interviewed, and I really enjoyed it. And my dad transferred from his job in Cape to Crillersville, and he goes, just go down there and let's ride together every once in a while, save you some money gas-wise, and we'll do it that way. I said, all right, and got in there, and we needed an EMT at the ball games, or somebody that was certified, and he was a certified EMT. So got him in there and got him to just sit on the bench and just keep the book. And it started out like that, and then he started becoming more of an assistant role these last couple of years, and being able to, kind of like how Robert said his dad, it started when I was in probably 2nd or 3rd grade, going to the gym, doing an intramural program. He's always been there with me through my journey. Even in high school, he'd come to practice, watch practice, and never missed a game kind of deal, even in college. So he's always been there for me at basketball games and being with me, and definitely has helped mold a little bit of who I am as a basketball coach. And it was definitely a special moment punching our ticket there at Three Rivers, which is also where I played, and being with him for sure.
Well, Coach, that's a great moment for your family, your whole family, not
Yes.
just you and your dad, but your whole family. But moving forward to the Final Four, it didn't really go as planned, but actually it did. You didn't plan on being there when the season started, so everything's positive.
Yes.
It didn't really work out, though. Once you got there, you probably thought you could win it. You probably thought you were one of the best teams there, but you didn't win it. But what experience did you gain as a coach, and what do you think your players gained from that experience at the Final Four?
I think it's great for our kids to get to that stage. As far as for them, just being able to be in that situation. I know when Robert was a freshman, and using him as an example here, he come into the Bloomfield Christmas tournament. We knocked off Portageville in the first round as a freshman, as a much lower seed, knocked them off. And that before he ran out, he goes, "Coach, why is all these people here?" And it was him being nervous as far as that, and the stage just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and them being able to handle it and finally tune that aspect of the game out and just play how we know they're capable of playing is a great thing for them. As far as me as coaching, that also, each game is a little more important than the next at that level when you get to that part of the season. And the nerves finally subsided, and you're able to just do what you're supposed to do and relax a little bit and have fun. So, and that's what it's about. So.
Well, that's one thing you can say about this team. The big stage did not scare them one bit.
No.
They embraced it.
They embraced it and took it. And it was like hammering on what you said a little bit. We didn't win when we were up there, but we did by getting there. And we had a tall task at hand. We had Hartville in the semifinal, who placed 4th in Class 3 last year, won it all this year in Class 2. And they had some really good players, really great program. Salisbury won it all last year, beat us in 3rd place with, and the difference between us and the 3 teams that were up there were the number of seniors. I think it was the team that placed 2nd had 11 seniors. The team that won it had 5 seniors. The team that beat us had 12 seniors, 7 that played. So if age has anything to do with it, like we've talked about, I'm excited for the next couple of years.
Well, let's talk about that. You had 1 senior. It's a talented group. What's it look like for South Pemiscot in the future? The future looks bright.
The future does look bright, but as we talked about on camera, our Southeast Missouri basketball future looks bright. It's getting very competitive. You got great teams in all conferences around here. SEMO conference is great. Stoddard County conference, of course, Puxico was an extremely young team. Dexter brings back everybody. Our Boot Hill conference is very young. And then, of course, you got Tri-County that has a great Risco team, great Cooter team coming up. Everybody's got good talent around here coming up, and that's going to make for some great great basketball, not only for us, but our area especially.
Well, Coach, congratulations on a magical season. The best is yet to come. You know, success breeds success. You told me you had 32 kids, I think, trying out.
Yeah, we had our summer meeting, and I've had about every boy that wants to play basketball is going to try, and that's exciting. And like you said, it could be real fun to finally have. I mean, this was the first year we've had a JV team this year, and it wasn't really a full JV team. We were just splitting people 6 quarters, so it could be fun actually having 2 teams for once at a small school. So we're excited about it for sure.
So, Coach, good luck next year. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the South Pemiscot Bulldogs for a magical season. We look forward to next year.